me get a beat, I kick it funky like feet. Let me get a beat, I kick it feet like. Let me get a beat, I kick it funky like feet. Let me get a beat, I kick it feet like. Let me get a beat, I kick it funky like feet.
It's actually true. Nilesh did play in a band, and then now you have to actually guess the instrument. And let me give you a hint. That instrument behind him is not, do not go there.
I guess I'm saying guitar.
Actually, it's not fair. I actually kind of set him up. He actually sang and he played guitar. So
Okay.
Good job. Nilesh, are you a Spotify guy, Sirius XM guy, Amazon? Where do you stream?
Spotify is my poison. Yeah.
Okay, what is the last song on the Nilesh Rockstar track list? Like
All
literally.
right, that's got to be
today.
Oh, today was actually Taylor Swift, "Snow on the Beach." Don't ask
Never,
me why. Don't ask me.
never would have guessed that.
I mean, I completely was not a Swiftie, and like for the longest time I fought back, my kids, and then I ended up for one of her shows. I'm like, wow, poof, mind blown, and then I was.
Luke, do you know this tune?
I do not know the tune. I did see Trump tweeted that Swifties no longer hot. So Nilesh, you must be on the wrong side of that.
That's true. I'm always like one gen behind, but not when it comes to AI infra.
There you go.
So.
This is very calm, peaceful, absolutely opposite of where we're going today.
Totally.
But thanks for giving the shout out on Taylor. We love it. All right, warm up pitch, guys. I always like to ask a question to kind of like get things warmed up and get you guys going. Here's the one that I came up with. Actually, thought of it about an hour ago. If your tech stack was a character in a sci-fi movie or a TV show, who would it be and why? And there's no pressure, but if you do say Jar Jar Binks, we might actually have to end this interview right here, right now.
I can go.
Yeah.
Or Luke. Yeah. Well, SpongeBob SquarePants. That's the perfect example of a stacked character. And yeah, like when I think infrastructure, I'm thinking, hey, you got the pants on, you got your hardware, and then oh wait, that's Jar Jar.
That's Jar Jar.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, that's
I did
AI,
not have
that's SpongeBob put through the AI filters.
Yeah,
and
I didn't have SpongeBob ready to go. I didn't see you got me for two strikes. I didn't see coming from you out of your corner today. All right, Luke, how about you?
I'd go with Major from Ghost in the Shell.
Nice.
Yes.
That's keep me straight. The blonde, famous.
Scarlett Johansson
Scarlett.
played it in the triple remake in America, but yes.
Thank you very much. Hello, friends. My name is EP, and welcome to another edition of Epic Hype. Join me on the journey. Today, our show is sponsored by Kendo. Today's show is sponsored by the guys over at Kendo, which is the AI layer for modern enterprise operations. Imagine AI-powered ops that actually pay for themselves. Kendo delivers measurable value through faster resolution, stronger security, and fewer manual tasks. Picture, if you will, automation that actually thinks, adapts, and scales so your teams can focus on what really matters. Go check out kendo.ai for more. All right, so let's get into it. Got some cool cats in the room today. His name is Luke Morris. He's the CEO and co-founder of Kamiwaza. He is our guest is riding the AI wave. He's reshaping the surfboard. Luke Norris, I don't know if they have surfboards in Denver. We'll find out. Luke Norris is the CEO and co-founder of Kamiwaza, a company tearing down traditional infrastructure limits and re-engineering AI workloads at their core. If you think cloud native is where the innovation stops, well, Luke's here to flip that table and set it on fire. In the other corner, I've got Nilesh Shah. He is the VP of Business Development at ZeroPoint. Next up, this guy right here, he's bending Moore's Law to its absolute will. Nilesh Shah is the VP of BizDev at ZeroPoint, where they're not just accelerating compute, they're compressing reality itself. If you think silicone has reached its peak, well, Nilesh is here to tell you the future is smaller, faster, and way more, just like him, radical. Gentlemen, welcome to Epic Hype. Nice to have you guys on board today. How we doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Luke, surfboards, Denver? Yes, no?
I wouldn't say Denver, but here in the mountains, we definitely ride them, whether it's snowboards or whether you put some wheels on them and ride them in the summer. So, yeah.
Definitely got the snowboards. And look, no snow blindness happening at AI Infra, which is where I met both of you gentlemen. And I think, Luke, I heard you say that you just rolled back from Atlanta. And were you at the AI show, the AI Infra show over in Atlanta as well? Or something else?
Sure was. The AI in retail. I was actually out there. I presented with one of our awesome customers, the 156-year-old Campbell's of all companies.
Really? 156 years old?
156 years old, and they're doing just amazing things around data transformation, real-time AI. They have about 20 actual production use cases already, hoping to get to 40 by into Q2.
And is this a company that has actually adopted AI and they're staying? That's what helps them maintain the consistency of staying in business for so long because they're making the adjustments necessary as technology makes its shifts?
I think this is relatively new from what I understand. So I think in the last 3 to 5 years, they've wanted to get into more acquisitive mode, actually start buying and acquiring companies for growth. And in doing such, they've been looking at technologies that help them do that. And that's really where, from the CEO down, they've adopted AI as sort of the way to speed up the company, allow them to ingest companies. And like I said, they're just doing amazing, amazing things.
That's awesome. Well, like I said earlier, kind of when we were just rolling out, you guys have both been Mad Max road warriors traveling from coast to coast. Nilesh, I know you've gone from, over the pond and back. Right before I met you, you were over in Dublin, one of my favorite cities on the planet. Now you're back. What's over the course of, we're 2 weeks into the month. It feels like it's been weeks that you guys have been out on the road, but what are you learning out there at the shows? What are some of the things that are kind of standing out as the traditional buzzworthy terms coming out of some of these AI shows, Nilesh, that you've been attending?
Like you said, I was in Dublin for the Open Compute show, and phenomenal show, phenomenal turnout, especially from the European companies. And one of the key things that we are seeing, actually, I'm seeing, and I led a panel at Open Compute, was around Neo Cloud and Neo Chip. So we know and love the traditional cloud, the cloud that runs your web browsers and probably this meeting that we are on virtually right now. Amazing stuff. But there's a fundamental shift going on in the industry, and that's where everyone's gravitating to. It's the AI, the Gen AI centered data centers of the world, which I'll call neo cloud. And then powering these data centers are the chips that are built for one and only one thing, which is to run AI training and run AI inference. And I like to call them neo chip companies. You have your traditional chip companies like the CPUs of the world and so on and so forth. But now you have these neo chips, which are highly specialized to run AI training, AI inference. And we saw a lot of influx of that. And especially at my panel, I had Fractile. Fractile is a neo chip company. They make inference accelerators. It's actually backed by Pat Gelsinger, ex-CEO of Intel. So I had the CEO of Fractile on my panel. I had Farm GPU, which is a neo cloud provider, and it's amazing the rate at which the business is growing for neo cloud and neo chip. And I think also Luke mentioned this amazing pull. You're seeing 156-year-old companies jumping onto the AI bandwagon. There's a tremendous insatiable demand for AI.
Compression at the instruction level sounds like voodoo, quite frankly. But what's the one industry myth that you're able to go out there and kind of smash?
I think there are three myths in the industry right now. The first one is that the only way that you can do something meaningful with AI and large language models is brute force hardware. Just bring in the big guns with the GPUs, etc., and just throw more compute at the problem. But really, and this is something we do, and we work with the chip companies, we work with the software companies, we work with hyperscalers. You asked the question about hyperscalers, and a great example, Llama 4, Meta just launched Llama 4. When you strip down and when you tear down and open the kimono on this model, it's made up of a bunch of layers, maybe hundreds or thousands of layers. And what's really interesting is the top few layers, they call the prefill layers, they're all compute bound. But when you look at the lower layers, right, they're all the decode stages, they're all memory bound. So this myth that, hey, I have a bigger model, well, let's get that big gun GPU and let's put 100,000 of them to solve the problem, works for training, but for inference it doesn't, because you're memory bound. And so that's one of the myths that we are busting, is we need to focus on optimizing memory, and that's where compression comes in. We do memory compression almost invisibly, right, in nanoseconds. We're not talking about compressing files. We're talking about compressing memory, which is on the fly, real time, as it's streaming through. And that's what actually enables and democratizes access, right? Not everyone can afford billions of dollars of the latest and greatest hardware.
Are you talking like FPing, like going from FP8 to FP4, or are you talking actual? Like, I guess I don't understand the memory. What do you mean by the memory?
Compression. Maybe talk about the compression.
Yeah. So no, I'm not talking about FP4 and FP8. Those are lossless techniques, right? When you go from FP32 and then you squeeze it down to FP4, there's a lot of information loss, which you can never recover. What ZeroPoint Technologies focuses on is lossless compression. So already the innovators, they're already pruning and quantizing models and compressing them nicely. But what we found is, on top of that, we can still compress those models by 1.5x. And when you do that, what you're doing is you're unlocking this bandwidth, the memory bandwidth, and that's what actually moves the needle. When you talk about what is the metric for deploying AI at scale, it's really tokens per second, right? All these things that you put into Chat GPT and stuff, that's all converted into tokens and embeddings. So really, you want more tokens per second, but you have to do it efficiently. So tokens per second per watt, or simple way, intelligence per picojoule of energy, right? And that's what we help unlock with these inline real-time memory compression accelerators.
I love it. This is almost like a topic that needs its own show. Pinging it back to you, Luke. What's the most overrated concept in AI in general? Like, when I'm speaking AI, I'm talking about infrastructure. What's the most overrated concept within AI infrastructure today? And why is everybody, I don't know, it feels like everybody's out to kind of chase it?
I hope you're teeing me up for this, so I'm just going to blurt out what I guess I feel right now. I think the energy consumption game on inferencing is overblown a little bit. Now, I'm not talking the 3 and 5 year and 10-year journey of it, but if you take a standard enterprise server, let's say an 8-way Gaudi 3, or AMD 3 MI300, or even H200, that one server with a decent sized model is going to produce 50,000 tokens a second. And you typically need 2 or 3 of those just to even build out the base cluster. So let's say you have 3 of them. So let's just round up 150,000 tokens a second. Well, a PhD grad student could generate 20 tokens a second. So you're talking now the ability out of those 3 servers to possibly have somewhere in the range of, I don't know, 7,500 PhD people working for an enterprise, actually processing knowledge work at that particular level. Like, that level is more than enough to run streamline operations and automate the largest Fortune 500. Now, granted, you'll get into more things and multimodal things, and you'll need to process tokens in different ways, and you have to run models on different larger memory. But let's say it's 10 servers, or let's say it's 100 servers. You can still fit that into current data center power envelopes. So I think to get started today, everybody's thinking they need a net new liquid cooled data center with a nuclear reactor powering it. And yes, for training, that is very true. But for inferencing, getting started, even at Fortune 500 scale, I think the power consumption's within the capability of a current data center.
Luke, I agree with you and disagree with you at the same time. So I agree with you when you're looking at 20 or so tokens per second for these PhD student example you gave. Fabulous. It works great. Your math is absolutely spot on. We are living in the age of agentic AI. And when you talk agentic, right, you don't need 20 tokens per second. You need thousands of tokens per second per user. And when you get to those kind of use cases, when you want to do something real and meaningful with these rack pipelines and things like that, now you need some serious compute power, which I think so. There are two ends, right? There's one is the hyperscale where you're talking infrastructure for like millions of people. And then I think what Kamiwaza, what you're doing, which is edge inferencing. So I think there's room for both. But I think definitely if you look at what are the economics of AI, it's really power in, tokens out, right? So it's all about ROI, so return on investment. So when you're talking about return on investment, and every business objective is maximize that return on investment. So yeah, all this is fine when companies are in the hype phase and like, oh, I want to do something with AI, just buy whatever and who cares. But one day there will be a reckoning, right, where you will be asked, like, what is your return on investment? How do you make it more efficient? That's when these metrics start to matter, and it's very simple, right? AI is, like I said, it's power in, tokens out. So what's the best way to optimize that equation?
Well, you know what, Nilesh, let's switch it to talking about the power of this AI and the arms race that AI is when it comes to the hardware. Who do you believe, or what do you believe? Do you believe that there's more bluffing or there's more building as it comes to the arms race for AI hardware?
I think there's a bit of both, right? So there's two ways to figure out who's really building the hardware, because they're actually shipping right now, right? They're sampling, they're doing things, they're running proof of concepts, or they're putting things into data centers. The ones who I wouldn't say they are bluffing, I would say they are kind of behind the curve by, let's say, a year and a half. So instead of having products that sample now, maybe they're sampling, like, let's say 2 or 3 years. So they're late to the game. And here's the thing with AI, right? AI is changing so rapidly. If you look at these models, of course, everyone's heard of DeepSeek, right? And actually, even before LLMs were hot, what was hot, let's say 4 or 5 years ago? CNNs, right? Convolutional neural networks for image processing and stuff like that. So a lot of the hardware companies built their architectures optimizing for CNNs, which have a completely different look and feel than LLMs, right? And it's not, you can't change silicon design on a dime, right? When you've invested millions of dollars taping out a chip, you're kind of stuck to that. So really, I think it's the visionaries who can actually see what's coming next and actually develop and design for the use cases, not of just for today, but the use cases of the future. I think Luke mentioned multimodal and all these amazing things that are coming out. It's really who can envision far out into the future and then prepare for that future now, rather than wait and see what happens.
Luke, anything to add or rebut on that?
I mean, the future's now, man. If we didn't develop a net new model, it would take 10 to 15 years for the enterprise just to absorb the power of the current models and the impact that it would have for here. The next models, et cetera, they're just going to continue to unlock the ability to adopt this faster. But 75% plus of an enterprise could be fully automated right now.
I'm super excited listening to you talk about this. I'm teeing you up for where I'm going to go next. I met you, actually, I got to hear you for the first time at the AI Infra in Santa Monica, which is right down the street from Kendo, a company I'm advising for. And I was just like, wow, this whole retail space, I had no idea what is happening and how many people don't realize it's right underneath their nose. So let's go there in one sentence. What's the boldest thing that Kamiwaza, your company, is doing that would absolutely terrify traditional IT vendors. There's going to be traditional cats out there listening to this, and I'm doing this on purpose. I want them to sit back and go, "Oh my gosh, are we really going there?" Yes, we're really going there. So bring it to us, share it with us. I'm also going to throw your website up as you're going here because I do want people to be able to gravitate what we're talking about here.
Sure. I mean, just the pure workloads. Like one of my favorite things is we're seeing the traditional records of the enterprise, the traditional records and record systems get obliterated. And effectively what I'm saying is think about SAP. When all of the data is flowing in real time through agents, and that data then can be transformed into different formats, enriched and changed, the idea that it has to sit in one static spot and have other systems access it pretty much goes out the door. So I know of several companies now, 3, that have active plans to remove SAP. And it's crazy thinking just 2-3 years ago. But now they've had the agents interact with the data, interpret the data, enrich the data, move the data, transform the data, actually interact different pipelines of the data. It literally makes it so that they're looking at this legacy system saying, why are we maintaining that when we can actually spend the same amount of money and just start working around it? And if you think about that and its further implications, it's crazy. And it reworks the whole IT paradigm. It reworks the data paradigm. And it's just fun.
That's nuts. I know people are listening to this right now going, you got to be kidding me. Go find him. Go talk to him. Luke has the intel. Nilesh, over to you. ZeroPoint. Let's throw ZeroPoint up on this and talk a little bit about the company you represent. ZeroPoint Tech was deployed across every data center tomorrow. What part of the semiconductor world would implode first?
Yeah, I don't think there would be an implosion. In fact, I think what would happen is like a shift in the economics. So if you look at what's going into the bill of materials of an AI system, besides the software stack, there's the hardware stack. You're paying for GPUs, other compute, but a big part of the GPU is memory. You're paying a lot for memory. Where you heard of HBM, high bandwidth memory. And this stuff, you need to keep stacking it up, 4 stacks of 4, stacks of 8. It's like a pancake. But the only difference is as you keep stacking more, the yield drops, which means you're going to pay more for more memory. And really, so one of the biggest things we are doing with memory compression, where we can compress memory by 2 to 4x, actually, for general workloads. And then also for these LLMs, is you don't need as much of the physical memory. Or flip it another way around. With the existing memory, you can load more. You can get more tokens per second per watt. I think that economics where the mindset is, let's hoard all this memory, right? Let's park it in our garage, right? People were buying GPUs, not really for the compute, but because high bandwidth memory is so precious to come by. It's like, hey, let's park it in the garage. What are you going to do with it? Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out, but let's secure the stuff right now. I think that's one thing. The other thing we're going to find, and actually we're already seeing it happening. We announced a collaboration with a company called Rebellions. They're a unicorn out of Korea developing NeoChip inference silicon. And really, I think what these chip companies are starting to realize is optimizing for memory is no longer optional. It's a must-have. It's not a nice-to-have. And simply, and that's the example I was giving Luke, is when you think about tokens per second, right? The example Luke used was, 20 tokens per second per PhD student. But really, we're living in the age of agentic AI, where you need thousands of tokens per second, and you're not going to achieve that just by putting more hardware. So you're going to need these innovations like memory compression. I also work with another company called NewMem, and actually we had a joint paper at Open Compute where we showed MRAM, managed MRAM. That's a new type of magnetoresistive memory, which is non-volatile. So they've done some innovations, and we've combined compression where now you can actually extract or fit in more LLM and get more for the same footprint of silicon.
I love it. Yeah, you are a walking Wikipedia for AI, man. I love it. All these terms. I'm learning all sorts of new acronyms today. But hey, it's Friday. It's happy hour somewhere. Luke's backyard. Luke, Silver Bullet or Banquet?
Silver bullet, man.
Yeah. So look, let's play a little game, get a little loose, and then I'll get you guys on out of here. This has been absolutely epic. Great information. You guys are bringing it today. I'm going to share a little game out here. Let me give you guys the rules on it, and then we'll jump into it. And the game is called Tech Fit, as you can see, or Misfit. I am going to basically present 3 technology startups or buzzwords. You guys must pick which one doesn't belong, and then defend your answer with the edge, attitude, or industry insight. Basically, just which one of these doesn't belong. And then I'm going to switch it up after 2 or 3 of these, and we're going to do a this or a that. We'll be done within a couple minutes and have some good laughs. All right. So I'll go with Luke for the first one. Here's H100 GPUs, PCIe's, or near memory compute. Which one do we need to kick on out of here?
I say kick the H100 out. If you look at the inference of the H100 versus now the B200, the B200 is 48 times faster for the exact same watt. Amazing. So literally, as Jensen said, as those B200s become mainstream, you're not going to be able to give away the H100. So I say it doesn't belong.
Nilesh? Agree, disagree?
I partially agree with Luke, because I believe not every workload requires the B200, right? Don't pull out a bazooka when you could make do with a shotgun, right? So I think, and that's my view is, H100s, and actually I would go even the generations before the H100s. There's a use case for all of these, right? You could be doing some interesting things in a cost-efficient manner, right? It's all about TCO, total cost of ownership. I think,
go ahead, finish that thought, and I'm going to take you to the next one.
No, that's what I was about to say.
All right, yeah, take you to the next one. We got RAG pipelines, LLM compliers, and ASIC accelerator. Which one of these do we want to kick out? Doesn't belong.
I think you meant LLM compilers, maybe.
Oh yeah, typo. Somebody's going to get docked on the pay for that one.
Yeah. If only you ran it through the agentic AI RAG pipeline, see, it would have popped up as a compiler.
Luke?
I've been leaning towards, and by the way, I'm a big fan of the Gaudis, but ASIC accelerators, I think, are going to get harder and harder with the diversity of models, the diversity of the underlying architectures of models. I think it's going to get harder and harder for ASICs to make a play going forward. But they're still incredibly fast and cheap right now. But between the 3, that's probably the one I'd have to lean on.
Well, I love how you guys actually are having your own opinions. It's great. It makes it fresh. Thank you for being truthful. Luke, lead us with the last one on these. Where's the wall?
I just want to say I completely disagree with Luke. I think we're living in the age of ASIC accelerators. Again, it's all about
moving
total
forward.
Cost of ownership optimizations. I feel you can't live without ASICs. We're going to see them
about where we are right now, because it's almost like these new, it's a new religion, and it's getting everybody on board to kind of like, what are your belief systems? And the answer is, I don't think either one of you guys are wrong. It's amazing, because it's a matter of getting the industry as a unison to all move together, right? So, and this is the beautiful thing about early technology. And so it's great to listen to you guys kind of like throwing darts at it. Luke, take me to this one. Which one doesn't belong? Edge AI, liquid cooling, or quantum annealing? I don't think you're going to get rid of the last one, but then again, I don't know.
I did read the paper on quantum annealing. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. Wow, which one doesn't belong? I'm not a huge fan at the moment, once again, right now, of liquid cooling. And it's not that it doesn't have its spot in making, current large infrastructure solutions and large data centers, especially in the GPUs. But the adoption, the inferencing level adoption, I think air cooling in standard data centers is where we're going to be starting over the next 2 to 3 years. So once again, if I had to kick one of these out, it'd probably be liquid cooling.
Nilesh?
Well, once again, I completely disagree. Liquid cooling is a must-have. It's not a nice-to-have when you're operating at scale. I'm not talking about a few hundred servers. When you're operating at hyperscale, you absolutely need liquid cooling. You look at these racks; they're moving from a kilowatt per rack to 100,000 kilowatts per rack, right? It's I mean, I'd love to see an alternative to liquid cooling, Luke. I would say we need to kick edge AI out of here, because we don't need edge AI. It's not cool. No, I'm just kidding. I think what we need is data centers at the edge. I would call them micro data centers, which are just as powerful, and they just happen to be at the edge. And you have these, a whole bunch of these proliferated, so they are close to where they need to be, where you need to run inference. But I think you pick some tough ones, EP. It's like I
Hey
didn't
man,
want
look who I get on the show. Of course I'm gonna pick tough ones.
Yeah,
You guys
I
are no
want
rooks.
my cake and I want to eat it too. And you're like, pick one.
I mean, I gotta tell the story. I meet Nilesh at the AI Infra up there in Silicon Valley, and I'm like, man, is this guy really gonna take 5 minutes and talk with me? And you made really sophisticated concepts easy for me to learn and listen to and acknowledge where you're going, but yet I still hear you out there. I'm like, okay, I'm telling you, he's the walking Wikipedia for this stuff. And Luke, I listened to him when he was talking about, and Luke, I love how you present. You make sophisticated models very easy for the layman to understand and use analogies. That's what I'm getting after, because I do the same thing. I love that. But it's great because I mean, you guys both got beautiful minds. And speaking of the edge, we're at the edge. I want to give you guys a chance to actually do a shameless plug. Yes, I had your websites up, but Luke, I'll start with you. Tell everybody about Kamiwaza. Like, what's kind of like the go-to? What's that? The punch. Who are you guys? What are you doing? I want people to go explore. Where do they find you and/or your website to learn more about what you're doing and making the world a better place?
Yeah, man. Thank you. So over at Kamiwaza, we are orchestrating Gen AI outcomes beyond agents. So this is actually connecting all the data in the enterprise. This is connecting across cloud, prem, and edge. This is allowing AI to process that data locally. And now you can actually have outcomes, real workflows, real process, real insights beyond just calling something an agent. This is actually multimodal, multi-agent workflows. We're doing things such as GraphRag, where we're doing entity and ontology extractions and implementing that through real workflows with real outcomes. You can reach us, of course, at kamiwaza.ai.com. And we're focused in selling alongside our infrastructure partners, Dell, Supermicro, HPE. We have great VARs such as WWT and government acquisitions, and I could go on and on. But what we're really here to do and what we back it up with is outcome-based support. Even though we're selling software, we actually provide an outcome-based support model depending on the tier, where you can put in an actual ticket and get an actual outcome support, where we'll ensure it goes from shelfware to productionware literally overnight. And just been on fire. We have many Fortune 500s, government organizations. Go to YouTube and search Kamiwaza and Intel keynote. I do a great keynote with the Department of Homeland Security. It was really, really fun live. And we got a bunch of more stuff like that on the YouTube.
Love that.
While you're pulling that up, EP, yeah. I just want to plug you. I mean, you make it fun to talk about these complex technologies. I just met you over at coffee, and you're like, hey, let's chat. I'm like, wow.
I appreciate that, man.
Bringing technologies to light. So I just love.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, look, there's so much tech out there that a lot of people can't wrap their head around, and it's coming at them lightning fast. So my job is to try to kind of get to know who the guys are behind the company. This is perfect, right? I got an owner, founder, and I got a BizDev guy that's been in this industry that can talk people's heads until they spin off. Agree or disagree. It's fantastic. So I always like to find that game-changing, innovative tech that has legs and or has the passion. Sometimes, and Luke, you know this, there's guys out there on their sixth one, and they've struggled for the last 4 of the last 5, and they caught lightning in a bottle on the first one, and it's like an NBA champion. An NBA champion trying to get another ring, and unfortunately, and I'm a Laker fan, so I can say this, they have a Jason Tatum moment. So anyways, all right, Nilesh, I want to give you an opportunity to plug ZeroPoint. So who are they? What are they all about? And where can we find you on the road next?
Yeah, so the ZeroPoint tech, like I mentioned, we're all about memory compression, real-time compression. We have these proprietary algorithms which work at extremely fine granularities, cache line granularities. So we can expand memory by 2 to 4x. And we're talking all about AI, but actually we have customers also in the traditional cloud space that are using or evaluating our IP. And that's where we actually compress memory by 2 to 4x in real time. So one of the things I just want to plug is we are already, we've announced some partnerships with some of the Neo chip companies. We work with hyperscalers. We work with controller vendors in the CXL composable memory space. So we work across the ecosystem. So one of the key things is reach out to me if you're looking to sample these technologies. We are sampling simulators, we are sampling FPGA prototypes, and of course the actual silicon IP. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to connect and tell you more about ZeroPoint technologies. And we actually have a portfolio of IP products, which actually it's like plug and play. It's like a little Lego block. So no matter what kind of a chip you have, it could be a CPU, it could be a GPU, could be one of these ASICs, which Luke's thinks needs to be kicked out of. Luke, don't say that. Those are our customers. And then so anyway, so controllers, memory chips, we fit all over the place. So yeah, I would love to chat more.
Good times, man.
And then, yeah. And by the way, Luke, I'd love to chat with you offline, see if I can change your mind with data. So
Look forward to it.
All right.
Hey, he's a hard guy to get. I feel privileged that you gave me 45 minutes today. All right, so listen, let's wrap this up and get you guys out of here. Like I said, it's happy hour in Luke's neck of the woods, and Nilesh, I think we got about another hour. We got some work we got to get done. So I want to thank Luke for coming on, Nilesh for coming on, and just gonna shut things down. Give another plug for the company's doing the sponsorship here today. That would be Kendo. Once again, Kendo bringing AI native security and automation to DevSecOps. So your DevOps, your SecOps, your IT ops, streamline your operations, cut alert fatigue, and resolve incidents autonomously with intelligent agents. Check out Kendo.ai to learn more and tell them that EP sent you. And what else? Well, I guess I got to give you guys a little bit of music going out the door. Please follow me at Instagram. You can find me at Epic Starts with EP. Actually, at Epic Starts with EP everywhere. YouTube, LinkedIn, everything. And again, I appreciate everybody coming in today. And you can also find more entertaining episodes just like this one today and clips at YouTube. Search the Epic Hype Show. And please be sure to give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. Be generous, please. That's a wrap. Tie it up with a bow. My name is EP. This is Epic Hype, reminding all of you to make it an epic day.